digital arena, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Football in January.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I believe it or not, I do prep for this. And there was going to be so much to talk about because it was the last game of the season. And we could talk about the game, then we could talk about the off season and the future, and should Tomlin be fired or something like that. I had all these notes. They're all useless now. Dave starts us off. Hi, Dave. We're living through history, gentlemen. This is possibly the biggest news in this podcast's history. This is the biggest news in Pittsburgh since when? Maybe when the Penguins won the Stanley Cup, 7 years ago.
Yeah, this is definitely, I mean, it just kept on getting bigger. I even said to you last night after the loss, well, at least we'll have a lot to talk about tomorrow, and then not just expecting this, and then boom, this hits, and I'm like, oh my God, what a show we have tonight to talk about, because, I'm not so sure how surprised I am. And I think had what the Ravens done with John Harbaugh last week not happened, I probably would have been more surprised. But it just goes to show you that, what happens in the NFL is just, you never know. It's like any given Sunday, and then here we are. I mean, last week, you had Tomlin and Harbaugh meeting for the 40th time. And now here we are Tuesday, 8 days later, and neither one of them are no longer the head coach of that program. And
Unbelievable. Almost the entire AFC North doesn't have a coach right now. And the coach that still is there, the Cincinnati coach, he shouldn't really be there.
No.
He's terrible. Yeah. Oh, by the way, welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. And I believe possibly streaming on... Oh my God, my daughter just joined. My daughter is actually watching. I think it's the first time she's ever seen my podcast. Oh my God.
I love it.
Wow. When did it happen exactly? I believe it was either 2 p.m. or very close to 2 p.m.
Yeah.
When the news is that Tomlin left.
And I really don't think, Joe, I don't know about you, but I don't think it had so much to do with last night's loss. I think had they won, obviously he stays. But I think this was a predetermined outcome by Mike Tomlin. I think if they were going to lose like that, he was ready. And it seems like things that I'm hearing, some rumblings, were the Steelers had already talked internally about possible replacements. One of them being Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame, which, Marcus Freeman kind of came out later this afternoon or early this evening, whichever you want to put it, or Sheldon and Cooper would say pre-evening. And said he's staying at Notre Dame. Well, we'll see about that. I think money talks. But, it just seems like I don't think Tomlin wanted to go through the process of being fired. I think he wanted to end it his way. I think he might be interested in the TV. Although, let's not forget, he's still under contract with the Steelers. And the way I kind of look at that is when the Saints traded Sean Payton, the Broncos got a first-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick in exchange for Sean Payton. So maybe the Steelers are thinking about that. Maybe Mike Tomlin thought, well, I'll give you the ability to trade me. I don't know exactly what went through his head, but apparently at this point, right now, he's tradable. I don't think he's definitely not coaching this coming year. I don't see that happening. But, it's just kind of sitting here like, we're finally at the point where you and I have been kind of at for the last couple of years.
we have been talking about this almost nonstop for the past few years. And here, let me just, by the way, about that whole trade thing. I believe he's still under contract for a year or two or something like that. And I think he gets the worst of both worlds from Tomlin's perspective, because I don't think he gets paid. I don't think he's getting paid anymore. If you quit your job, you don't get paid anymore in theory. But the Steelers retain his rights for those 2 years. So let's say he takes the next year and goes to do TV, and then the next year after that he says, "Okay, I want to coach again." It's like that's when you're talking about they could still get a trade because they still retain his rights. So
yeah,
it's a crazy.
I thought he was, but maybe not. I thought he was still getting paid, but I've been wrong before.
Maybe. I mean,
it's just very interesting to me. Like all these other guys got canned, and it seems like Tomlin maybe saw that and said, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to control my own destiny, and I'm going to walk right into the Rooney's meeting tomorrow," because he knew he had a meeting with him and say, "You know what? I'm going to step down." Now, maybe if he didn't do that, Rooney was going to fire him. I don't know.
It happened so quickly. That has to be something that we need to consider. It happened in less than 24 hours after the game was over. I don't know. I don't know. Was this premeditated? Was this? I don't know. I don't know. Anytime that I've gone on other podcasts and they always ask about this, I've always said the same thing. Tomlin will never be fired. You will never see a press release that says the Steelers and Mike Tomlin have parted ways or Tomlin has been fired. It's like, no, it's going to be just like it was with Cowher, just like it was with Noel. It's like, okay, when it's time to go, we're going to have a mutual parting, and you're going to say it's time to consider other opportunities, and that's exactly what Cowher did. Weirdly, Cowher didn't go back to coaching. He really easily could have, but there was no time where it was going to be, Steelers fired Mike Tomlin. So I don't know.
Well, yeah, and you ended up being right as rain on that one, and I applaud you for that because I think you were, and just something the Steelers don't do. But our buddy Dave there, he said, I wonder after Pickett, Tomlin was like, not with another young QB. Well, let's back up to that. Also, I don't think he's hurting for money. No, he's definitely not hurting for money, Dave. The Steelers are at a crossroads right now. They are. I wouldn't say it's a rebuild, but I would say it's an organizational rehaul. They are definitely at that, or if you want to call it a crossroads, they're at a crossroads, Joe, because they now need to find another quarterback. Because I don't think, especially now, I don't think Rodgers is coming back. If Tomlin come back, I think there was probably a 25% chance, maybe 50-50, Rodgers was coming back. Without that, he's not coming back. Now the Steelers need to find another quarterback. And he knows, and they know, their track record's been horrible at finding quarterbacks. They have not done well. We can run down, Fields was a horrible idea. And they brought in Russell to try to fix that. They actually thought Mitch Trubisky was the answer. And Kenny Pickett was a bust, an all-time bust, maybe their worst first-round draft pick of all time. So that was horrible. And now they need another quarterback. In this quarterback draft class, it's, okay. They're not going to get Mendoza, and they're probably not going to get, Dante Moore, but it's not great either. I don't know. But, they are in a situation right now where the other thing you have to remember is they have 12 draft picks coming up. 12. So if you're into a structural reorganization, you have 12 draft picks. They also have the 8th most cap space of anybody out there, too. So they have about, I wrote it down here, $65,434,982 to spend, Joe. That puts them 8th. They have the money to spend. They have a lot of draft picks. They are at a point now where you can say, okay, well, there's a time to springboard into the next 5 to 7 years of Steelers' success and winning. This is the time to step off for Mike Tomlin. I will say that. I hope that may have factored into his decision today, or the Steelers and his decision today, however you want to term it. But I think that was part of it. Is they realized that, they couldn't go into this again with the same old coaching staff, the same old head coach, because they've gotten nowhere in the last, 8 to 9 years.
Well, that's something that that's a misconception out there. When the Steelers made all their moves last offseason, people were saying they went all in. Oh, they got Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Rodgers and Darius Slay. They're going all in. It's Super Bowl or bust. No. They very carefully made moves for this year, and they did nothing to sacrifice the future. Like you said, there's a bunch of draft picks they're getting. Who knows how many from the whole comp thing with the losing the free agents? Who knows how many they're going to end up with? But they're all set up. And this is one thing that drove me crazy. 2025, it's like it didn't matter. It's like 2025 was a bridge year because all we cared about was the NFL draft in Pittsburgh and that bright shining moment where they get up on the podium and they say the Steelers select in their first round the Messiah, the chosen one, the quarterback that will lead us to the promised land. Finally, we will have our quarterback. They're all building toward that moment. And it's like 2025 didn't matter. And I didn't think of that from thank you, Dave. I didn't think of that. Maybe after he said, okay, we had Russell Wilson. We have a older quarterback, and then we go to another older quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. It's like, okay, what are we doing next year? Well, next year we're getting we're drafting our quarterbacks. Like, oh crap. Maybe he thought, am I going to have to go through another Kenny Pickett, another season where we would have to be an ultra conservative because we have to baby the quarterback because we're not allowed to have the quarterback make any mistakes and win every game 13-9 or something like that. Sorry, Dave. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe my thought was, we're all saying after the Steelers got obliterated last night, I think we all said, so many Steeler fans said, we're so tired of Tomlin. We're tired of Tomlin, and we've been tired of Tomlin for a lot longer than that. But my thought was, what about Tomlin? Couldn't he be tired of the same thing? What was it? Sisyphus constantly pushing the rock up the hill. Don't you get tired of the same thing year? We're tired of the same thing after year. He's the one putting in all the work. When he get tired of it, maybe he just got burned out. I don't know.
Well, it's still, let's not, I'm not painting him as a messiah yet or an angel because there's still things with Mike Tomlin I didn't get. They brought in Jonnu Smith was one of the things there. Jonnu Smith was one of the worst tight ends in NFL yards per target. Not only this year, but over the last 6 years. But yet Omar Khan still insisted bringing in Jonnu Smith. He proved to be one of the worst blocking tight ends of the entire season. And what were you doing? You were choosing him over Pat Freiermuth.
Mm-hmm.
And the one time you did choose Pat Freiermuth for the back-to-back Bengals games and Bears game where he actually had a great game. And it's not, you got to wonder how Pat Freiermuth feels about all that. But, I don't know what Omar Khan thought he was doing, going to get Jonnu Smith, and then somehow Tomlin thought, hey, let's keep putting him in there. Art Smith, that's a great idea. Aren't you guys looking at stats because they sucked? He was awesome.
Jonnu Smith, almost every single play looked like he was out of place, looked like he didn't know the play, and he didn't block for crap. And they played him at the expense of Freiermuth, who every time they gave Freiermuth a chance to play, he was awesome. I don't understand. I mean, you know what? From what I've heard, it's not just us that are upset about that, but people on the team that were upset. And Freiermuth was so upset last night, and he's like the most engaging guy. He's like, I can't talk right now. It was absolutely ridiculous that they played him ahead of Freiermuth. I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
Says Omar Khan has not proven to be the GM that takes this team in the direction it needs to go. Is it because Tomlin was pulling all the strings? Well, that is the funny thing that the idiot national media was saying It's like, how could you blame Tomlin for this? He's not the one that picks the players. Oh, he very much picked the players. He very much picked, helped. If anything, he was Omar Khan's boss. And it's almost like he had final say on players. So don't give me this crap that Tomlin had nothing to do with picking the players. But one thing that really annoys me about Omar Khan, and there were some things that went well, but one thing that torpedoed this year and last year was the lack of another good wide receiver. It happened last year. They only had Pickens and then garbage. And they did the same exact thing. They had DK Metcalf and absolute garbage. That is malpractice. That is almost a fireable offense. If you make the same major mistake 2 years in a row, that's unforgivable. He has done some good things, but also some really bad things too.
Yeah, and I kind of put that up as one of my things too, is that, that's something we had all off season to address, even pre-season. He could have worked that magic somehow, and he didn't work that until week 9. When you go get, Adam Thielen and Scantling, whose combined age is 294 years old, and they had minimum impact until the playoffs, and the only reason he got the ball over the last 3 weeks is because DK Metcalf was on the shelf. So Omar Khan, who was, like you said, kind of making all these changes, and people are like, hey, you know what? This guy's making these changes. This is for the better. At least we're doing. That part's true. Yeah, he was making some moves, okay, which is what we needed. He wasn't making the right moves. He wasn't making them in an intelligent way, And if, like you said, you take him and combine it with Tomlin pulling some of the strings, or if he's pulling all the strings, like Sean suggested, or is asking about, then yeah, that is something that was a big problem too. And I just think that's one thing where, Tomlin's had it. And Tomlin has been around long enough. I think he's known when he's lost the locker room a little bit. And like you said, Pat Freiermuth, I think he's lost him a little bit. Now you have other guys like Cam and Aaron saying he's not the problem. It's not the coach. Of course they're going to say that because Cam's been with the guy for 15 years. And Aaron's got good perspective. I'll give him that. But I think that was the only way Aaron was coming back, and I think that's only reason Aaron enjoyed being where he was this year. It's funny how he took a shot at the Jets again today with, he's saying or last night where he's saying that, he got to play in Green Bay, gave a lot of praise there, and then gave a lot of praise for playing in Pittsburgh with the fans, the history, all that stuff, and didn't mention the Jets at all. I found that kind of funny. But yeah, Omar Khan, I thought from the beginning, it seemed like he was getting out of the gate okay, Joe, but I don't think it's been great, and I certainly don't think I think Tomlin's had more to do with that than what people realize, and it just hasn't been a great marriage.
One thing that Jerry Dulac brought up was the quarterback class looking bad again, wide receiver in the first round and the second. I don't know. I just looked at a mock draft. And in this mock draft, obviously, Fernando Mendoza goes 1, Dante Moore goes 2, and then the next quarterback is Ty Simpson from Alabama, and he goes 11. The 11th overall pick is very doable and very tradable. So I know it's a million things will change between now and then, but we might be looking at Ty Simpson as the Steelers quarterback next year.
Or Carson Beck from Miami. You just don't know.
We don't know. It's way too early. But yeah. So, but I just don't see. I don't see anything other than a quarterback, unless a million things could happen between now and then. But I just don't see anything other than a quarterback in the first round, just for the optics, just for the look. They're looking for that one bright shiny moment, and I don't know. I mean, if so, I heard somebody say, "Well, let's have Will Howard be the quarterback next year. Then we know it will suck, and we'll have a top pick for 2027."
Right?
Why not?
That's the only thing we never got to see. Will Howard.
Yeah.
Kind of robbed of that. I mean, he is there. You and I both got to see him in action a couple of times at camp. He looked pretty good until he got hurt. So I think we definitely would have got. I think we definitely would have got to see him when Rodgers was hurt and missed that game instead of Mason Rudolph. I think we could have seen Will Howard there too. So yeah, we kind of got robbed of seeing Will Howard. But yeah, you started this off with who just played their last game for the Steelers. I definitely think Jonnu Smith is one of them, and it's going to be interesting to see who else is in that mix because who are the Steelers going to put up for trade? Who are they going to get rid of? Who are they going to pick out? I'm almost more worried about the coaching staff because I think Terrell Austin needs to go. Terrell Austin should have been gone by the time we all woke up this morning. I mean, I'm sorry. But and that's another thing, too. Sean asked the question, I think, earlier about, well, who's pulling the strings. We never had any clear indication on that ever since Dick LeBeau left. Who's pulling the strings on defense? Is it Tomlin? Is it Terrell Austin? Or is it, whoever else was in there? Now we're going to find out. And I don't think I want to be Terrell Austin, that's for sure. And I'm just not so sure I want Arthur Smith to be there either. And that could be the other thing that Tomlin saw the writing on the wall, too. If somebody wants to hire Arthur Smith away, have at him. You can have him. He was a failure in Atlanta. He was minimal impact here, if at all. And the only person you ever heard him getting touted by was Aaron Rodgers for whatever reason. And I like Aaron Rodgers, but I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers' word is not, the gospel to me either. So, yeah.
Arthur Smith deserves to be fired for last night's game alone. Let's review. The Steelers, the Houston Texans had an okay offense, an elite defense, an actual good defense, not the highest paid defense like the Steelers. Steelers had a good defense and an okay offense. So what do they do? What does the Steelers offense do against this elite Houston defense? They do spread. They basically say to this elite Houston defense that has two edge rushers that are even Tomlin himself said this is the best edge rushing tandem in the league. And what does he do? He leaves the offense, he leaves the tackles all alone. He says, hey, good luck. And Fautanu got eaten alive last night. And Fautanu had a good year. But what do you expect? Now, when it was Myles Garrett, we don't want him to break the sack record, so we brought in max protect, and had the entire team back there just blocking him. So Myles Garrett doesn't get the thing. But when you have two edge rushers coming at you, no, we'll just leave him alone. I mean, it was the big play was 3rd and 12, and the Steelers were in spread formation, and that was, I believe, the play where Rodgers got hit and there was the fumble and the touchdown. Arthur Smith, he does some good things, but he's also a complete idiot. And the whole Jonnu Smith thing alone also, go to hell. But the thing is, when Tomlin got hired, they kept some. Now Tomlin, remember, was a defensive specialist
in Minnesota.
And yet, and Tampa Bay, and yet, they told him, you're keeping Dick LeBeau. I don't care how good of a defensive guy you are. Dick LeBeau is so they made him keep the defensive coordinator. I think the offensive coordinator too. So I wonder how much of the staff will remain. Now, remember, Dick LeBeau is actually good. So there's that. Terrell Austin, I don't think will get another job in the league. So and Arthur Smith might become a coach somewhere. Go, please. I'll drive you to the airport, buddy. But Terrell Austin, I don't think will be. So I could see them losing both coordinators.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals were saying, rumor, they want to interview Arthur Smith. Well, that's why you're the Cardinals, and you got to go right ahead. But no, I mean that's the thing, and I already got the proverbial, because I was. I need to get back to doing more on Twitter. I've kind of gotten away from that. I don't know why. But, I did more on Facebook today, and I got the proverbial, well, the grass isn't greener on the other side. Who's going to get to replace it? Who Ian's going to get? Well, how about a lot of guys? Let's start with Clint Kubiak from the Seattle Seahawks as an offensive coordinator. What about Chris Shula, the defensive coordinator from the Rams? What about Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator from the Chargers? Brian Flores, who could talk about bringing him back. There's a lot out there you can bring back right now that I would be very, very happy to see. I have a disagreement with one of my colleagues from the radio on if the Steelers would bring in a college coach. Because like I said at the top of the broadcast, Marcus Freeman's name been thrown around a little bit. I saw Chuck Cignetti, Indiana. I don't think he's coming. I think he's fine with being in Indiana, even though he's a Pittsburgh product. But there's other guys out there. They're going to find another guy. And honestly, Joe, because everything we said, as of today, as of right now, it's 100 days to the draft. So not only do they got to find someone, they got to find someone rather quick, and they got to beat out 7 other teams that are in the NFL coaching, search right now. So there's a little bit of race against time right now. And I will say this: I'm not trying to be a yinzer, but I do feel when you look at what's out there, I think us, Baltimore, and the Giants are probably the 3 most attractive jobs. I think everybody else is tier B or tier C, but I think we're the 3 franchises that should be the most attractive to any of these candidates.
Mike Greenberg, who is a colossal jackass, said that the Steelers are actually the worst possible destination. Yeah, any coach would hate to work in Pittsburgh, where you have at least 5, 10, 15 years where you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you have success. Yeah, that would be a terrible job to have.
Terrible job. And the sad thing about that is, Joe, if you bring in one of those guys, let's say they bring in Jesse Minter. If Jesse Minter goes and wins a playoff game in the next 10 years, he's already doing better than Tomlin did. All right? He's already doing better than Tomlin did. I mean, that's the thing.
Exactly.
You're already doing better. One win in 10 years, and you're already doing better. Hopefully, it's a hell of a lot more than that. But, get out of here, Greenberg. He's a Jets fan, and I guess it's just gotten it to him.
Yeah. I think you're right. The Steelers' job is. I mean, I just heard like one of the insiders said, like as soon as the minute Tomlin resigned, 3 or 4 coaches are like, yeah, let me interview with the Steelers. So I mean, it is a highly sought after job. The whole Brian Flores thing really intrigues me. What do you do there? He was here. He was in the building. He worked for the team. They should know him well. But the problem is, when Tomlin was hired, I believe he was 34 or something like that. When Bill Cowher was hired, I believe he was in his early 30s or mid 30s or something like that. Brian Flores is 44. They want that guy. That's why people was like, what about Mike McCarthy? Mike McCarthy's too old. Anybody that's old, forget about it. They want the next Tomlin and Cowher and Knoll. They want that guy that's some young up and coming coordinator to promote, and they want him there for the next 10 or 15 years. So just think about it. I don't know how old Jesse Minter is. He's probably there's also Shula.
He's 37, 38. Yeah. Shula's
So
about the same age.
very interesting. But yeah, don't worry about don't worry about McCarthy. I just saw Deion Sanders. Could you imagine Deion Sanders?
No.
But what's his Brian McFadden said, I want Antoine Randall as a coach. Didn't you bring up a Hines Ward?
Yeah,
that would be an interesting.
I think Hines Ward would be a good position coach.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ready to be a head coach, but I don't think it would take much for them to lure him away from Arizona State. I think he would come with bells on if you asked him to. I mean, let's not get too yinzer on us and make Steely McBean the defensive coordinator or anything like that. But our friend Sean said, Tom will look at Houston and CJ throwing up on himself, realized with a young, mediocre QB, Houston demolished the Steelers. Yeah, let's talk about that real quick too. The other thing that killed me, Joe, is the defense did do its job last night getting turnovers, and the offense couldn't do jack with that ball. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Nothing with that ball. It's just, I mean, they could have been in that game last night, and it was a winnable game. You wouldn't think so looking at 30-6. But it was a winnable game at one point, and they just flushed it away, which is why, again, kind of getting on my horse about getting rid of Arthur Smith, getting rid of Terrell Austin, and maybe it is a rebuild. I don't know. I think it's a restructure, whatever, but you want to term it. But they have a lot to do in a little bit of time because they have quite a bit of stuff going on here.
If history is any guide, when they hired Cowher and Tomlin, it was toward the end of, it was like the third week in January. And I know things are a little bit pushed back now because, you know, now there's 17 games. So I would imagine by the end of this month, there'll be a new Steelers coach, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, I bet you within the next 2 to 3 weeks we do this podcast, we know who the coach is without question. Maybe the Steelers might move quick. I don't know. I mean, I think they need to with everything they've got on there. And I mean, that's got to be. You would think that's got to be one of the interview questions. They say, Joe, what are you going to do with 12 draft picks and nearly $83 million to spend? How are you gonna, what would your plans be? And because none of the other teams, not the Ravens, not the Giants, not the Cardinals, the Falcons, they don't have that kind of collateral or opportunity to offer these coaches.
You have a lot of flexibility there. Dave says, depending on the age of the coach, do you want a possible future high-level quarterback with the Giants or MVP? If I had my choice of a job between New York, Baltimore, or Pittsburgh, I would take Pittsburgh in a heartbeat, and here's why. The Giants are pretty much, I don't want to say they're a joke of an organization, but they're pretty close to being a joke. Baltimore, yeah, Lamar Jackson, I would love to coach Lamar Jackson. Small problem. I think he's entering the twilight of his career. With what he's put through his body, I don't know if he's going to be healthy for the next few years. I could see him retiring in a year or two. There's nothing set there. So, I think you have to look at the organization as a whole and not just, and Jackson Dart is not exactly. I mean, that guy's like 1 or 2 concussions away from being knocked out of the league already. So,
I don't know. I think I'd probably rank it about the same as you. I think of the Giants a little more highly than what maybe you're saying. I mean, this is a team that has won Super Bowls within the last 20 years, and over staggering odds, and they still find a way to pull it off. The Giants do seem to figure out every once in a while how to get things going. I think they're leaps and bounds better than the Jets. That's for damn sure. But I would probably put it somewhat in the same order as you did there. I'd put Pittsburgh, the Giants, and then the Ravens. Or I could easily talk to the Ravens being second, I guess. But, yeah, Jackson Dart's, I think, a tremendous talent. And you really got something to work with there. So I've been saying that for a couple of years now. And I told you, I thought if he fell to the Steelers a couple of years ago, which I was ludicrous to think that he would, that I would love that. But that didn't happen on our draft day special that day. So Giants win that.
Yeah. It's just
put Snoop on the committee, though, man. Put Snoop on the committee.
Snoop Dogg. Let's put Snoop Dogg. See what Dr. Dre is doing. Maybe they could be on the committee too. I found a coach. He's at now he is a college coach, so I don't know, but he is a young up and comer. His name is Bill Belichick, and I think there's a lot of good ideas from that guy. I think he could do something. I wonder if some stupid organization would bring him. And if you brought him back to the NFL and had her basically running the team, that would be the funniest thing ever. Just please have Hard Knocks for that, because that would be the greatest TV show ever.
she's definitely up and coming. But well, and that's definitely a thing. You know, that is something. Remember we talked about that. What was it like? The last year, the year before, they first of all they do the hard knocks for camp. Some teams always selected for that. Then they kind of do the like early to mid-season hard knocks, and they did the AFC East or the AFC North. And we talked about how they finally had to get into Tomlin's, you know, locker room, his speech, whatever. And we know he hated that. We know he for sure turned them down twice to have the Steelers be on Hard Knocks. I guarantee you the Steelers will be the number one team that HBO goes after for this training this year.
Right.
Try to do Hard Knocks, and who knows if it's Tomlin or if it's Rooney or whoever the hell it is, it's turning them down. But it would be interesting to see if the Steelers got put on Hard Knocks for training camp this year.
Yeah. What do you think was Tomlin's worst trait?
I think he didn't want to recognize there was a problem when there was. You know, I think he was overconfident in his coaching ability. You know, I've said this. I think it goes back a lot further when a lot of people put him back as. I mean, I think he personally, and this is just me, so call it a grudge if you want to. I think he ruined the better half of Big Ben's career. I think they should have at least gotten to another Super Bowl or one, maybe two, when they had Ben, AD, and the running back. Sorry, his chemo.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, thanks, Le'Veon Bell. When they had those three, I really feel like they were a better team and a dominant team with a great defense that could have won. And last night, Joe, the one stat that killed me is I was looking back at all the other losses. So they've lost 7 playoff games in a row, and every one of those games they trailed by 21 or more points. I mean, they've not just lost these games. It's not been like the Browns and the Broncos in the 80s, right, where there was the drive, and then there was the fumble, and there was just, all kinds of bad luck for the Browns in close games. No, the Steelers have gotten their asses kicked in every one of those playoff games. It hasn't even been close. And Ben said it on his podcast alone, Joe, that Tomlin needed to go, and that Tomlin and him, and he felt that this part of his career was, not wasted. I guess he doesn't say wasted, but just, not used properly. And I just think that was the thing. I mean, like you said, you said this before, and you're right about this, and I think this plays off on it. If they hire Marcus Freeman or Brian Flores tomorrow, he's set for 15 years here. As long as he doesn't go 0-17 the first 2 years or something, you're set for life. And I think like Tomlin got a part of that. I told you for years, the biggest mistake Rooney did 2 years ago was give him a 3-year extension. He never should have got that extension. Had he not got that extension, who knows, things would have been different. But there's that safety net. And I think he just thought, hey, I won a Super Bowl. Second year I was here, I got us to another. I'm sitting pretty. I don't have to make mistakes. The players love me. The players go out there and say nothing but the best thing for me. Everybody wants to play for me. Me. And that's the problem with Mike Tomlin. He was way too full of himself.
I wonder if the whole non-losing season streak actually went against him. I know. I mean, he's been asked about it. He said, I don't care about that. I care about winning championships. But it's all anybody talks about when you talk about Mike Tomlin is he has this streak of non-losing seasons. I wonder if that had that weighed on him and weighed on the organization. But one thing we will see is I'm not thrilled with Art Rooney II. And for the reason you said, and I thought this was never going to happen, that they were going to get rid of him, that he was going to get rid of Tomlin. I thought they were just going to, because of the stability and all that crap. Listen, as an owner, Art Rooney II hasn't done crap. He has been a disappointment, and it's just getting. We'll see now. We'll see. it's up to them to pick the right coach, and maybe it'll all turn around and stuff. But
it's tough because I know that a lot, and I've told you this, my job, it's in sports too, professionally. And I'll go to these meetings in Iowa, which is kind of funny because, we're in the mid part of the country. And you're surrounded by Cowboys fans, and Arizona Cardinals fans, and Miami Dolphins fans. And they all sit there. I'd take Tomlin in a second. I'm like, really? I don't think he would. Maybe he wouldn't. He will be hired. I mean, as soon as this is over, and if he wants to coach again, he'll be hired in a heartbeat. No problem. I don't debate that up for a second. But it's not always greener than what you think. And, for all that stuff you did, the Eagles have won Super Bowls. The Chiefs have been winning Super Bowls. 49ers have been getting to Super Bowls. The Rams won a Super Bowl. We have not done any of that. We haven't even come close. We get our asses kicked by Jacksonville and Buffalo and Kansas City. And we're just there to kind of show up and get our butts kicked. And then we sit here, and tonight's show could have been very boring in a way. Tonight could have been, well, we lost again. Now we got to see what's going to go on. But this Tomlin thing changed everything about the show, because now we have hope. There's a breath of fresh air about this, that we are out of his, I don't want to say tyranny, but we're out of his reign of mediocrity. And, that there's a famous meme, like he says, 10-7 and winning, or I did it again, or something like that. He's holding a banner. He's not really holding a banner. But, the way AI is today, it's pretty darn good looking. And, we've been waiting, at least I think the majority of Steelers fans have been waiting for a breath of fresh air like this for a long time. And again, I just hope it doesn't stop at Tomlin. I think it needs to go on. Terrell Austin needs to be let go. I think Arthur Smith needs to go. And, that's it. That's got to be attractive to a head coach, Joe. You say, okay, not only do you have 12 draft picks, which, you can keep them, you can draft them, you can trade them, you can play with them, just trade them with your friends, right? You've got 60, let me say that number again here, Joe. $68 million to spend, $65 million of spending money, and you get to choose your own offensive and defensive coordinator. Damn, that's pretty attractive. Pretty attractive. I don't see anybody that can really. I don't think the Giants and the Ravens are going to say that. I really don't. Right. I don't know if they'll do anything with Omar Khan or not. Although at this point, nothing is going to surprise me.
Right. We know it won't be Harbaugh. That would be funny.
Oh God! The people have been saying that today too. Could you imagine Swips
if they swapped? Yeah.
And it'd be like being in the same nightmare, only with different colors or something.
I remember I was talking to last week when they fired Harbaugh. I was talking to a Ravens fan and just as a joke, and I said, Would you want Tomlin as a coach? And he just gave an awkward smile and didn't say anything. Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. If you're the Giants and you win 3 or 4 games every year, someone winning 9 or 10 games every year looks very attractive. It's like, oh, I would sign up for that in a minute. Like, oh, wait a minute, this is the same thing every year, and we're gonna get blown out in the playoffs. But we're winning in the regular season, yay! So, it's all relevant.
That's what I sit there and say, Joe. It's a great point because I sit there and say, okay, yeah, it's gonna be good. So let's say he goes to the Dallas Cowboys next year, and the Cowboys make the playoffs for 3 or 4 years. But you know what? They'll lose every one of those games. It's going to wear on you, folks. It's going to wear on you, just like it has here. We're not greedy fans. We're not bad fans. We just want to see our team get back to where we think it should be, winning championships. And that's what really matters here. We're a championship, sorry, but we are. It's just finally, it's like the Penguins. We finally kind of got rid of Sullivan. Penguins hit the dredges there the last couple of years, but finally, Penguins are turning a good lead here, and they're looking better. Sid's playing great. The young team is playing great. Mike Milbury said the other day that he thinks the Penguins' fourth line might be the best fourth line in the league. Well, that's the problem. We haven't had a great third line for
Right.
years.
Right.
You know, we're having some depth finally. It's working. And guess what? That came from, Joe. All those trades, all those Penguins have, and they still have a lot left to go.
Yeah.
They have draft picks. Well, here's where the Steelers are sitting right now. Like you said, I think you made a great point at the top of the hour. We have 12 picks. We can trade some of them. We can get another first-round pick next year, maybe. We can trade up to the 11th this year, maybe. We have a lot we can do, wheel and deal. Plus, you have a hell of a lot of money to spend. The Bills would kill to have the cap space we have right now, because guess what?
Right.
The Bills lost Gabe Davis with the torn ACL. That sucks for them. They're going to go against that Broncos defense that's tremendous with, yet again, although Josh Allen seems ironically like a John Elway type. Elway never had really great receivers until the end of his career. Somehow he's got to go up into Denver and win without very many good receivers.
Yeah.
And
And he is beat up.
No, he's really beat up. And we could get, yeah, they don't have the money to go and get any of those guys.
Right.
That was their problem. We did. We had plenty of money, which made the fact that Omar Connor, like Sean said earlier, Tomlin pulling the strings, we had the money to go do that, but we didn't do it.
Yeah. The Penguins are the perfect analogy of what happened with the Steelers. Mike Sullivan was basically the Mike Tomlin of hockey. He won, he was successful, and then he stayed on too long, and it went horrible, and he decided to leave, and they got another coach with a fresh perspective, and they started winning again. We just needed a fresh perspective, and we've said this a million times, but it's not that Tomlin isn't a good coach, it's that just he was here for too long, and it was the same thing. It was the same stale situation, and this had to be done, and I'm still in shock that it actually happened. I thought for sure that he would be given like one more year, or Rooney would say some crap about, we're dedicated to winning and blah blah blah. It's just some BS or something like that, and we would have just had the same thing over and over again. So I'm just still in shock that it happened, but it did.
And I don't know, it does make everything very interesting. What are they going to do with the QB? I mean, there's talk about do you go out and find one of these kids that's sitting in there as a backup QB? Do you give Will Howard a legitimate shot at being a starter? I don't know.
Malik Willis. Mac
who,
Jones. I don't know.
Yeah, Malik Willis came out that same year as Kenny Pickett, and
Yeah.
Just didn't fare as well. But he looked pretty darn good the other day in Green Bay. Looked good when he played for Liberty too.
Do you think Tomlin will actually be good on TV?
See, that was something I thought about today too. Like, are you ready for his Tomlinisms? Coach, did you think that first half was good? Obviously. Well, that's great, Coach. Thanks for tuning in. And
he'll say obviously, or well, they painted the barn red, and there was red paint, and there was some blue paint, and then there was like, Coach, but what about the football? But I don't know. I don't know. I just
yeah. When I want to watch a game with the boys, I don't want to rabbit there. You know what I mean? Like, what
right.
the hell are you talking about? I don't know. I even think that you could say this. Do you even think he'll coach you? And I think there's some debate on that. I don't know if he's done, because I don't think he wants to go and find himself taking over a team like, let's say, Atlanta or the Jets. I don't think he wants to step in a situation where he could be at 3-15, 3-14, 4-12. I don't think he wants to be in that situation. I think he's built a reputation here. He's got a Super Bowl ring, one of the youngest to ever win a Super Bowl. Never had a losing season. He's pretty much, I would debate it, he's pretty much guaranteed a spot in Canton. 5 years from today, if he wants in, and that's it. I mean, I don't know. I would actually, believe it or not, I hate to break all your fans out their hearts, but I actually tend to lean towards, I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back as coach. That's just the vibe I get right now.
here's the thing. When you're an NFL coach, you basically work like 20-hour days. And it's so you get burned out. It's so tough. When you work TV, you're basically working like 2 hours a week. And you're making, everybody thought Cowher would say, immediately go back to coaching. And he saw how good he had it. Like, this is easy work and you're making good money. Like, why would you not do that? So yeah, we'll see. Maybe he'll hate it. Maybe he'll say, I want to go back to coaching. I can't wait. Or maybe he'll say, well, this is really good. And it's not just coaching. I mean, it's not just TV. He could do a lot of things. He could be a consultant. He could, be a mentor or something like that. There's a lot of things he could do to take up his time because he is very well respected as a coach and very well respected with African Americans. So there's a lot of opportunities for him.
Mhm.
I don't know. But I mean,
There was a famous incident. I can't remember how Michael Wildon did it. I know that he ran into Bill Cowher, and this is back when PTI was still kind of just getting started off the ground. I think Tony Kornheiser still had his own show, and Kornheiser was talking about all the places Bill Cowher should end up, and that he's going to be great, and that he's going to do this and that. And Bill Cowher at the time told Michael Wildon, "You tell Kornheiser I'm never coaching again." And he never has. He never has, and I think that's going to be. I think Mike Tomlin's riding off in the sunset coaching wise. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. He could show up somewhere else, but I think he's done. He's very young. He's only 54.
Yeah,
only 54. Like Mike McCarthy, I think is like 10 years older than him.
right.
But I think he's done.
I mean, when you look at just how easy it is, it's like, can I do easy work and make a lot of money, or do the most stressful thing ever and get burned out and also make good money? I don't know, but he says he loves it and misses it, but we'll see. I wish him luck. I wish him well. I mean, I in terms of like a manager and a leader, I think he was great. I think he was always very he connected with the players. I think he was very upfront with them. I think he did great with communication, let you know where you stand. That's great things for a leader. It just didn't work on the football end. that was but we'll see. But we're in an exciting time. I never thought whenever you see all these things of we're interviewing this coach or we're interviewing this, it's like, well, we never have to deal with that. Well, we don't have to worry about it. What was it? We were talking, there was a week or two ago where one of the commenters was like bringing up coaching candidates. Like, who cares? We're never going to think about coaching candidates. We never have to think about this stuff. And here we're just like, some of those names you mentioned, like Shula and stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, maybe that's a good idea. So
yeah, it's like we get to have Christmas when we haven't had Christmas in 15 or 25 years. Yeah. we get gifts under the tree this year?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Kevin, PhD, draft Shameless. You have another year of Mason the contract and Howard in the wings. So
I don't know if Shameless is available or what's going on.
Well, I know his preference was to return to college. But the NCAA denied his eligibility. Now he's with his lawyers in a lawsuit. So I don't even know if that's going to be. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if Trinidad Shameless will be available or not. If he is, it might not be a bad idea. I'm not sure. I'm still sold that he's NFL material. I don't know. There's some other quarterbacks that beat him. They're still playing. So we'll have to see.
Right. I remember a year ago, it's like, oh, there's gonna be 6 or 7 quarterbacks in the first round in 2026. Oh my goodness, all these quarterbacks, and then it just didn't happen. So we'll see. It's very early. We'll see what the how the draft goes, but
Who knows? Next week we could be doing a show about a new coach. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's that unpredictable right now.
Never. I'd like to thank the Steelers for this, and basically for a long time, it has never been a dull moment. Even in the off seasons, are exciting. But you could say a lot of things about the Steelers, a lot of things about Mike Tomlin, but they were not boring, and they gave us plenty to talk about.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've always had a lot to talk about as far as like Tomlinisms, and unfortunately, we've always kind of been on the losing end of things to discuss. But hey, thanks, Mike, for a long time of good talk. You've given us at least a lot of ammo, if you want to call it that, or words to live by.
All of the people that have Fire Tomlin as their name on social media, what are you gonna do now? Where are you going? What's your next target? What are you doing? I wonder if there's just a large hole. It's like yes, it happened. Like, oh God, what do I do now? Like that thing I wanted finally happened. What is this? It?
You did it. Good job, or something. I don't know. Or yeah, thanks for listening. Or I don't know what you would do. But that'll be interesting to see.
That would as soon as the next coach is hired, it'll be like fire Shula, fire.
Right. Right.
Yeah, let's just direct our hate somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much.
Hey,
I was looking forward to this all day. It's like, oh my goodness! Just as soon as it happened, we texted each other like, oh my God! I think the entire region just said, at one point, it's like, oh my God!
Oh, I know. I'm surprised like cell phone service didn't crash.
Seriously.
Yep. I think when you did that, I probably had about 7 to 10 other people say that about me. They did it. Oh my God. Yeah.
I texted my family, and they don't even like sports. They don't know anything about sports, and they're like, "Oh my God, are you serious?" Like everybody was talking about this. So.
Right. Well, thanks, Joe, for having me again. We'll be sure to talk next week.
Yep. All right. I'll see you.
Thanks, Joe.
Mm.